find my shows at TLB TV, the Thomas Lori Bryan TV.com. You can find you can find me on Facebook. I also do a Friday night politics show, radio, blog talk, and on Saturdays, Rudy Orr and I do a CPS show. It's called Nightmare on CPS Street. And that's aired at 8 p.m. Eastern every Saturday night. And anybody can call in. Let's see, just like this show. Anybody can call in, but I don't know the number off the top of my head, which is too bad because I've repeated it. But you can find me on Facebook, Raquel Okyay, O-K-Y-A-Y.
And she's been in our corner a long time. Those of you that don't know Raquel has been in our corner for an awfully long time. She has also done her fair share to take down the corruption as well. So I fully support everything she does. Thank you very much for everything you do.
Thanks, Chris.
Okay, well,
thank you for
you're welcome to stick with us, but I got more people I got to bring in. I've got, I'm going to say 8807. You've been on hold for a very long time. I'm bringing you in. I believe that I have Mr. Mars on the line, do I not?
Yes, you do, man. Yes, you do. How you doing today?
Well, how you doing, Mars? What's going on?
I'm solid, man. Just listening to everybody speak, man. Taking in the show. It's my first time listening to the show, so just trying to catch the tone and the vibe of everybody's thoughts. I think that looks like the conversation is focused on the corruption of our family court system and all its different levels. I think I'm pretty familiar with that. It's interesting when I hear the opposite side, women speaking about their experience and it being so negative, because I've literally seen drug addict women, drunken women, degenerate women get like a magic carpet ride through court. So I'm in Michigan. I don't know if it's just different here. We've got some strange rules. A woman can say that you're the father without you ever having had sex with her, and they can just place you on child support here. They just now overturned that law. It had, all type of men paying for children that weren't theirs, that everyone knew weren't their children. So I don't know if my experience is a little bit different because of that. Our state's dynamic.
I've heard a lot of strange things about Michigan. As a matter of fact, I hear it's one of the more corrupt states. Just to rattle off a few, I've seen a kid that was 11 weeks old get put on counseling, with a counselor, and I'm like, are you serious? What is an 11-week-old baby going to get out of counseling?
Yeah.
And well, of course, I've heard bad things about Flint. I've heard bad things about Detroit. There's a lot of, and I hear also that they like to just snatch kids out of school, off buses, or out of cars, and then take them to court, and then just demand that the parents come and see about their kids in court. And then they're under the jurisdiction, and they start adjudication. I've heard all kinds of crazy things happening in that country. One of the things that really made me the maddest was when I saw that article about the guy that's in charge of DSS saying, "Oh, we're not going to open up the cases to see if people have been put on the registry wrong. That would take way too much money and manpower." And I'm like, "Are you serious? Are you serious? You better look, pal, because I don't belong there," is what I was saying right then. I just couldn't believe I listened to that dirtbag say that. I was just,
yeah, I wish.
Why don't you go ahead and tell everybody what it is that you focus on, tell people what your main points are, and you got the floor.
Okay, my main focus has been trying to pull dads together. I have a group called Dads Against Discriminatory Systems. I try to help fathers with the parental alienation, navigating the court process. I think I heard you speak a little bit about how the lawyers don't do what they tell you they'll do, and they don't do what you ask them to do. They're not proactive in defending you or litigating for your side. It's more or less like this paper pushing is what I call it. They submit motions or paperwork, and they do They use the templates that they have, but they never really give you any legal advice, a good blueprint, counter plans, anything of that nature. I've never received anything like that from my lawyers. They've never been able to answer basic direct questions. I spent 7 years going to court. What's weird is that she has an older child, and that child had been taken from her a couple of times and placed into a different facility, something that we used to have here in Michigan called the Haven House. And with these things known record, somehow in my case, they say, oh, we're not going to talk about that, and they just ignore it. So in a situation where you're trying to decipher parenting, they don't use a person's parenting resume. So right there, when that started, I thought to myself, something about this situation is not actually trying to solve problems. And they're not trying to find real truth. So what the fuck are they trying to do? So I would go to court and I would observe and I would listen and I would take notes on other people's cases. So it was things that I saw that kind of let me know, like, well, this is not a logical circumstance. For instance, I watched a soldier come to court in his uniform with his woman against his ex-wife. He had an immaculate motion. I'm talking about just a long, thick, precise motion. He gets up there and he says, my main problem is that she's an alcoholic and I don't trust her driving my children anywhere, right? He didn't say she couldn't see the kids. He didn't say even to have her on restricted parenting time or anything like that, supervised parenting. He just said he didn't trust her driving the children because she was a drunk, right? He stated that at the time she was on probation and had got another DUI and was now going through some type of outpatient AA program, right? She admits this. And then the judge says, well, I don't think she'll be drunk when she drives your kids. So when I watched this, and I want to make sure I say this woman's name. Her name is Darlene O'Brien. She's a judge in Washtenaw County, Michigan. You should be able to look her face up and see the face of a woman who said a woman who had her second DUI should be safe to transport children. So I watched her do this, and I thought to myself, what the fuck am I really watching here, right? This is an honorable man, a serviceman, right? Saying that he doesn't want his children in the car with a woman who can't hold herself to not driving intoxicated, right? And an immediate excuse is made for her. An immediate crutch is supplied for her, right? This is not the first, that was the first, but it was not the last time I saw something that outlandish happen in court with that judge, right? Now, the same judge had my case. So I started worrying about these things because then I said to myself, so we were going to Catholic Social Services, right? I believe Miss O'Brien was a Catholic. At Catholic Social Services, they had a blueprint, wrote out a booklet, a guidelines book, right? I can read. I happen to have a college degree. I can do a little bit of reading and comprehension, right? So I know how to read a book and follow the instructions of the book, right? If someone gives you a book and they want to have you adhere to everything in reverse, does that sound like fair or adequate or equal treatment? Okay. So when I ask you, why are you asking me to do things in reverse? Am I threatening you?
Exactly.
Well, that turned into that. That turned into that.
When you realize what the real purpose of family court is, when you realize what it is that the lower levels are doing, and you know, everybody says the exact same thing. Oh, this is about money, and it is. It is on the lower state district level. Yeah, almost certainly. As long as you're in the state court, any kind of appeal court, whatever, almost all of these people are there and are hearing your case and are toying with your family for that reason. Yes, most certainly, no doubt about it. I don't question that whatsoever. I'm going to tell you that when you look at what they're doing and you look at how they do it and you look at how they don't even listen to the law, they don't act on things they're supposed to act, they don't, they're not on your side whatsoever.
No.
That's obvious. And even then, when you start looking at what's going on, decided between each other, what you notice is this: they take the kids away from the loving, attentive parents, and they give to the person that's going to mess them up. This is something that I have seen in case after case after case. So why are you going to take a kid away from a good, loving mother and give it to a father who just got out of jail for sexual assault? Why are you doing that? Tell me, explain to me what your reasoning is here. You know they can't take them to school. They can't take them to the park. Why are you giving this? And if you know that they're going to get abused by this person, why are you giving that to them? It doesn't make any sense. But when you look at it this way, when you look at the real reasoning behind their family court, you know what's going on. You see the bigger picture. You see what's going on. They're trying to destroy the family, folks. I don't care how you look at it. I don't care how many reasons you give it. It's not happening. I'm telling you right now, they're trying to destroy the family.
I agree with you 100%. You can't take the factors and the dynamics and not come to that conclusion. It's really disappointing to me when somebody gives a different conclusion, because it makes me think their brain doesn't work or something, like they can't correlate one thing to the next. I've never seen where lack of logic is so prominent, lack of facts so prominent. I don't even understand how it's constitutionally legitimate, the whole circumstance. I can't figure that out. You know, there's no qualifiers to anything, right? There's no elements to any dynamics of the rules and laws they state. How is it even valid? I've been studying that for some time now. Like, how is it even valid? It isn't. It isn't. It isn't.
And when you've got so much case law and so much Supreme Court ruling, and we're not talking about local, state Supreme Court. We're talking about the Supreme Court ruling that all point to the validity and the strength of the family, and we got to keep everybody together. But then you got everybody on the lower and the state level going, no, we're going to go the other way. You know, I mean, it doesn't make any sense except to think this is what they're being paid to do. There's got to be something there that's keeping this going. And I'm sorry, but when you get $3 billion given to one county in California, one county out of one state across the country, $3 billion, all you can think is, where are we getting the money? How are we paying for this? Why are we giving them $1 billion in operating costs? That doesn't make any sense. And then you think to yourself, they're not getting it from us. Somebody else is doing this to them. This is the thoughts that have come into my mind, and it didn't take long for them to get there. It didn't take long for them to get there. I had them there probably a couple of months after the whole thing started. I'm sitting there looking at the whole thing going, there's no way this is right. There's no way that anybody could think this is right. But here they are, and they're doing it. So why? Why? There's the next place you got to go. You got to get out from under what you're experiencing and look at the big picture. There's a big picture out there, and it's so huge, and it's so vivid, it's not even funny. Somebody's doing this to us, and we got to figure out who it is. Anyway, go ahead.
That is the valuable question, because you can only solve something from, the root of it, the root cause. So that is the valuable question. Who's pulling this string? Who's setting this tone? Who's benefiting? Right? Who benefits from damaged children? Who benefits? Somebody benefits from a nation of broken children. Those broken children need a father or a father figure or a father system. But they're vulnerable.
Well, and they need mothers too. Let's go there. They need mothers too. That's the good mothers. Yeah. The good mothers. And we know they're out there. We know they're out there. It isn't all, I want to tell you, they picked on me big time, but it wasn't about the father or mother. It was about who was fighting them. It was about who was fighting back. It was about who was questioning their authority. It was about who was fighting them at every turn. It was me. And believe me, they would have done it to the mother just like they did it to me. Just like they did it to me. If the tables had been turned, they would have done the same thing to her.
That's a different perspective. Like I said, I can't vouch for something I have zero reference for. Like I said, I live in the state of Michigan, and I've seen the sorriest women degenerate drug. A woman kept her children in the freezer in the state of Michigan for 6 months, and no one knew. No one had seen the kids. That's the doctors, the teachers, nobody. And she was able to do this, having killed her children. Right? We have horrific stories of women bringing men straight from the penitentiary into the house that rape and kill the children. This is not even a rare incident. It's a common incident. So all I can say is that these things are being enabled for women to do. I've never seen a man being enabled to do these things. I've never seen a woman that was. Yeah, I'm just telling you. Yeah. Yeah. I can't. Yeah. Yeah. In different states, they might be conducting things in a whole different manner, right? I just can't. I can't speak to it from a hands-on protocol. But what I've seen here and what I've heard from fathers in my father's groups that span the country is that they feel that they have no opportunity whatsoever, none. And I've watched high-ranking men of success and education be treated like degenerates, myself included. And what you said something earlier. Now, I was gonna say you said something earlier about how they make up things, and that then they just run with the things they made up and no one holds it. I heard the woman who was speaking to you talk about handling the case and learning and this. Everything she said, I could give her 10 examples of men and myself handle those things. When she said about contacting lawyers, I've used the top lawyers in the state. I've paid. I've heard a lot of people talking about lawyers they gave you for free. I've never had a lawyer I didn't pay thousands of dollars. I'm over 6 figures into the hole on lawyers. Thousands of dollars. I've paid private eyes. Just the private eyes, I've paid about $15,000. I have hard evidence, facts, laws. I just found out in losing my appeal, there's an actual law that says the judge can decide to believe the other side and not accept your evidence. And the key word there is evidence, not just testimony or talk. Evidence. Evidence.
Overrule the whole thing and say, no, I'm sorry, you are guilty. And I'm sorry, folks, but a judge's job is twofold. Number one, he's there to interpret the law. Number two, he's there to mediate. There is no other job. It is not his job to find you guilty. It is not his job to overrule the jury. It's not his job to say that your evidence is crap, these people's evidence is good. I'm sorry. That's not his job.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And so every step of that is illegal. So what I can tell you is that I have a list of things that are illegal that judges do, from fraud to perjury themselves. When she said it's the judge's courtroom, just take that, right? I really fucking resent that. The courtroom is a public place. No, I do. No. I want to finish my statement. I didn't interrupt anybody speaking. I don't do that. I didn't interrupt anybody speaking. I waited to speak and I was silent. No. Stop. I didn't do that. It's disrespectful.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
I prefaced my phone call with I was discussing cases that I'm familiar with in my state. Children dealing with CPS.
Yes.
It's a different arena.
Yes.
It's the state versus the children.
Yes.
You're in a custody battle. Mom versus dad. It's a completely different scenario.
Indeed.
And believe me, I know I'm part of a group called Why That Matter in the state of Florida. I know what you're talking about, and I know that, and you're talking a lot of sense. But what I was describing was what goes on in these CPS cases and how I have seen parents actually win.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm just throwing it out there. Okay. But my observation, this is how I see parents win against CPS in the state of Florida.
And I appreciate that. So let me round out the statement. I resent that as a conceptual premise, right? Because I've had other people say this premise to me regarding my custody battle over and over again, right? So I myself, I have. Indeed. I've had my own lawyers who I've paid thousands of dollars tell me this nonsense, all right? And I respond to that with this. The courtroom is a public place for the people to do exactly what Christopher just said, right? He's there to interpret the law, to make sure the law is followed, and to mediate and make sure the process is done professionally and cordially, correct? He's not there to chastise and make rulings on other things. He's not there to be anyone's determiner, right? He shouldn't be doing that, right? All he should do is be a trier of facts and laws. That is it, to make sure facts and laws are tallied, right? So when you go into a dynamic, I'll listen.
I do want to put this in real quick, Mars and Raquel. Raquel, by the way, I just want to let you know if you're talking a little bit too close to the microphone, it sounds like you're almost screaming. Please don't do that. You're sorry about that, honey. But anyway, I just want to say that sometimes you gotta say no. This isn't gonna work for me, because sometimes that judge is straight up biased.
Straight up biased.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. So we're on the same page. We're on the same page. No. We're on the same page on that view. What I'm saying is that the premise has been set, and once a premise is set, subconsciously it takes hold, and people begin to accept that. So when the judge thinks, I am the courtroom, it's my courtroom. No, you're a worker for the fucking people. You're here to do a fucking job. You didn't become the lord of the room to dictate. You didn't become the lord of the room to dictate anything. Yes. Yes. Yeah. No, exactly. Exactly. But as the people, as yes, and as the people,
parents in the CPS cases, they have to play the hand they've been dealt, and that's how they get their kids back. Because otherwise, if they start like screaming civil rights violations or federal violations in that CPS level against the state, they're like blown out of the water all the time. You know, yes. I just want parents to focus on the merits of their case, because I think that with a good lawyer, and there's not a lot, so you really have to take time to find a good lawyer. But with a good lawyer who is actually defending your rights, I think you could get your kids back. And that's really the only point that I was making.
I understand. No, I understand.
I don't think the system is fair. I know they're stealing kids for money. I know that. That's all in my research.
So we're all in agreement there. We're all in agreement there. I'm speaking about the premise. So I had not finished what I was saying. It's the premise, and that premise being accepted by society as a whole, that the judge gets to do whatever the fuck they want in this room. If we stop accepting this premise, no, I didn't say you said that. No. He's there. He's there to do certain. He's there. I never said do it. I never said do whatever I want. I didn't say that. I said the judge had a specific premise he was set to meet, which is to be a trier of facts and to maintain law in a cordial professional environment. I've already indicated cordial professional, so you definitely can't do whatever you want. I'm not promoting any foolery such as that. What I'm saying to you is when the judge makes the circumstance where he can just do anything, he's defaulted his boundaries. He's defaulted the systematic constitutional boundaries. So you can't exactly expect something logical, rational, or lawful to take place when they take that position. That is my point. Nothing else. Nothing about doing whatever I want to. That would be foolish. There has to be some type of boundaries. But if only the people are held to boundaries and the system is held to no boundaries, what you get is rampant corruption. Would you agree?
While in your case, I understand your judge has, isn't doing their job right. I've also seen judges do their job right.
Yeah, they exist.
There has to be,
They exist.
I really have. I really have.
Yeah, and I said they exist. I didn't say every.
Caseworkers and there are people on the inside that are doing the right thing.
Yes.
It's about exposing the ones that aren't.
Yes,
and
but
we are doing. We definitely do that.
But
and I understand the mindset of the public, but I can't control the mindset of the public. They're already looking.
I don't want you to.
You've already done something wrong.
I don't want you to.
Huh?
I don't want you or any one individual person to be accountable for all of these choices or accountable for all of these mistakes. One person should not be. I'm not attempting to blame you. I'm talking about how a premise has been falsely set by the system and the judges. And therefore, it is making a lot of illegal actions become normal, kind of acceptable, common things. And you've already stated.
I don't accept that.
You don't.
I don't accept it.
You don't.
Because if it was my case, I would be doing the same thing you would be doing.
Yes.
Figuring out in the law.
Yes, you and I, but we're not the majority. We're not.
Yeah. Because we could go on about this all night. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Mark, I know you had some other things you wanted to say on, I believe, your other topic on your other topic of expertise. You wanted to say something on the subject of racism.
Okay.
I'd like to hear what you have to say on that. And then we got to get on to another.
I definitely would like to speak on the blog you sent me. Your blog you said that you had wrote. Okay. I told you I was going to respond to it. I definitely would like to say to you, I appreciate when someone makes their points in sequential order and when they supply example. So you gave statistical data, you gave it in order, and you gave personal example. I even appreciate that you tried to supply a definition for the word racism itself. It seems that there are different definitions, and it seems that these definitions somewhat seem like, for comparison's sake, I use terrorism. Terrorism seems to have a fluctuating definition from country to country, action to action. It seems to change.
Right.
So at times, racism seems to have a definition that's on par with prejudice and discrimination. And at other times, it has a definition that has a more complex description, right? I see that you use poor treatment or violence against people based on their race, a belief that races of people are better than others. So racism can be practiced by any race or all races. That's a position that I don't believe exists. I believe that unlike prejudice, bias, and discrimination, that all isms are systems. So nothing about any of them, from fascism to communism, none of it can be done by a single individual. Therefore, a single individual's activities in it can't really be the sustainment of it or the creation of it, right? So to me, when you spoke about, you said,
do you agree?
I'm listening. I'm listening. No, well, I want to hear what you say. No, I want you to say what you were going to say.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you agree that that racism, prejudice, bias, et cetera, do you agree that this is being blown way out of proportion these days by certain individuals or certain groups of people? I believe that that we're actually starting to use it as kind of a catch-all thing. Like, say you don't agree with what somebody's saying, so you just say, "Oh, well, you're a racist," and that's all there is to it.
I think
that this is being blown way up as a problem that we all have when we in fact really don't. But
I think that there's about 5 issues at hand, and that racism comes in as 1/5 of a whole. I believe that even before racism, you have a major, whatever you want to call this feminism gay thing, takes much prominence over anything race-based. That's the mainstay issue going on right now. That gets the primary focus. I think that after that, you got a religious issue going on. I think that's a major issue that issue might take precedence actually over the gay transsexual thing, actually. I think that race comes somewhere along the 3rd or 4th. It's somewhere in the third or fourth as far as what the masses would be focused on. I think that in general, there's a much stronger push for feminists and not lesbians, feminists, transgender, and religious groups hold a much stronger grip on any type of media coverage or support or political agenda, anything a politician is going to attach to. Oh, and gun rights. Gun rights trumps racism also, too. It trumps racism, too.
I'm going to tell you, Mark, I'm not trying to cut you off, but I am going to say this, that I feel that a lot of these issues are prominent and prevalent today only for one reason, to divide and conquer. And I'm sorry, but I feel like every single issue that we've had since the beginning of this country is now all coming out. All of a sudden, everybody's concerned about everything. And
I agree. I agree.
Or another thing, or
I agree.
Order of importance. I think that everything is being brought up now on issues that we've had since the beginning of time. None of it pro-life against pro-choice. We've got man against women. We got black against white. These are incredibly conflicting views that have been bugging us since the very first time we ever elected a president.
I agree.
They're never going to be resolved, but they make great distractions, just like war, shootings, and all this stuff. All of these are great distractions, and that's what these people that are in charge of the whole show, that's what they want, right?
I agree.
Because they're trying to get some other things to come.
Chris, can I speak on the racism?
Absolutely. If there's anybody that's qualified here, you know what's going on. Come on, Tracy.
Oh, okay. Not only do I have a case in Iowa, but I also have a case down here in Missouri where my 8-year-old, he was 8 at the time, year old son was assaulted and he's biracial, by an intoxicated Caucasian woman. The Springfield Police Department refused to do their job and take a report and question all the witnesses. I had to turn him into internal affairs. I had to make a civil rights complaint against my apartment complex because the manager did absolutely nothing to this woman or her family.
Mm-hmm.
And in return, I got served with 30-day notices to move. I had my rent returned to me, demanded double rent, and then threatened with late fees if I didn't give them the money back. I have all my stuff here in black and white, from A to Z.
Mm-hmm.
And when I went to court, I took it to trial. I did nothing wrong but protect my son and stick up for him and get his rights. You know, he was violated. He was assaulted. The woman should have went to jail, but I was told for political reasons she wasn't arrested.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I now have an action on my record because the court refused.
I'm sorry. A lot of your problems in this case in Missouri that you're having right now, I've determined from your facts that a lot of that stems from the fact that you're fighting these people and they don't like the fight.
Yeah.
So they choose to pick on you and get you kicked out and all this other stuff, take you to court, whatever the case may be. A lot of it doesn't have a darn thing to do with race. And to be honest with you, I thought it did in a lot of my instances because I am married to a black woman, but that has nothing to do with it. What they picked on was the fact that I was fighting them, and I see that in a lot of other people's fights. But anyway, go ahead.
And, you know, Chris, I agree with that. I agree with you 100% with what you just said. However, it's a known fact, if I'm not even going to say a black woman, anybody, other nationality did that to a white child, I believe.
And that's the point. And that's the point right there. That's the point right there.
If I put my hands on that woman and choke the shit out of her like I wanted to do, I bet you they'd have found a jail cell for me.
That's the point. And that is the point. That's what makes it. That's what makes it racist.
The bottom line is now my case here is in the Office for Civil Rights in Chicago, and stuff's being done about it. Thank God. You know what I'm saying? It's just the point of all the harassment and all the undue stress that me and my children had to endure down here. You know what I'm saying? The rate that this is never going to change. You know, and then the people, I got an eviction for not paying, but then they turned around and gave me a paper that I did pay. So it's so crooked every way you look at it.
That's a bias. That's a bias against your social status more than it is your color, I think. Well, I think that has a lot to do with that.
Right. And they tried, but they found the right one because I will not shut my mouth. God did not bless me with a mouth to be shut, unfortunately or fortunately. I don't shut up. You know, but I'm just saying, like, it still runs rapid, like, so bad. It's sickening.
Oh, I know.
It's sickening.
I know.
A black man got accused of molesting my daughter, which was a lie. It was a lie. You know what I'm saying? Iowa didn't want a white woman with the black man, so let's say he molested her. Take her kids and then turn around and give them custody of two more of my kids.
I understand that. I understand that.
Yep. Listen, I'm going to give Mark 1 minute to finish up here, and I got to bring on more callers. I've got a half an hour left of this show, and I've got 2 or 3 people that are still waiting to talk. Mark, go ahead. And,
well, I just like to say,
I'll give you a couple minutes.
I'd like to say to you, Chris, I appreciate you for inviting me onto the show. I'm glad that I got to hear a different perspective, different people's stories from different regions, the different gender stories of oppression that they've dealt with the system. I do agree with you when you say that the formative problem that we have is division. Division in a number of areas. Division not just around one thing, but a division around a number of areas, and that someone exploits that, right? Someone is exploiting that, right? Exactly. I don't have all the answers, but I am aware, and I'm conscious of what's going on around me. What the last woman spoke about, I have a very firm understanding for what she was saying. I do believe her when she says that, hey, if it was the other way around, if a black woman had beat a white child, would there be a different reaction? If a black man beat a white child, would it be a different reaction? I think that she's correct because I've watched these things and lived these things myself. But in short, I would just like to say I'm working on a book about this right now, and I would like for people to maybe check out my blog. It's called HowRacismWorks.com. That's HowRacismWorks.com. And that I feel that if people can just take time to do what you said, is to listen and to see who gains from whatever problem is brought their way, it'll give you better perspective. Just to look who is gaining from the problem that's created.
Thank you very much, Marv. I appreciate you coming on, and you're welcome to stick around, listen to some more. Yeah. I'm going to bring some more callers on, though. I've got 2 from the same area code. I'm going to bring on the first one.